With the midterms just around the corner, the October surprises are raining down upon us, and none has been so good than Swalwell's ad portraying a woman getting arrested in front of family for having an abortion. Now, the idea probably sounded good. You know, Swalwell goes to his team and says, what if we make a video where a woman is eating dinner with her family and the kids are giggling and they're smiling, and then the cops show up and said, ma'am, you're under arrest for abortion. The only problem is the production value is so low, it actually comes off like an SNL skit. And it's so bad. It's okay. I'm sorry. I know it's a sensitive issue, but the video really does come off like the Babylon Bee making fun of Eric Swalwell and not a very serious political ad. And there you have it, my friends, an issue that is not particularly prominent in swing districts being championed to an extreme degree by Democrats. And this is another example of why the polls are swinging towards the Republicans, because the Democrats have gone nuts on two issues: abortion and January 6th. And aside from the mockery that Eric Swalwell has made of the issue of abortion, and also, let me just add, Chuck Grassley came out and said no on the issue of a nationwide abortion ban. Saturday Night Live is mocking the January 6th committee outright. Okay, I didn't find it all that funny when they mocked the January 6th committee hearings, but they did have they called Adam Schiff too spooky. They said that he was a horror bad guy from the horror movie Smile. And so they were skipping over him. That I thought was kind of funny. But you know what people really care about right now? I don't know. Gas prices? Why? How many times and for how long does it need to have been said it's the economy, stupid? Well, I know Joe Biden knows this because now he's starting to dump the strategic petroleum reserves again. And for those of us that are paying attention, it is a slap in the face to the American people. The SPR. You see, it exists so that we can make sure we have oil energy in case of an emergency. Say, I don't know, World War III that the Democrats are pushing us towards. And don't get me wrong, neocons are along with them for the ride. But Joe Biden, knowing they're facing a very serious crisis and about to lose the midterms, is dumping petroleum just so that they can keep gas prices down and try and salvage something in the House. It's disgusting. It's a betrayal of the American people, and it's pathetic. We know this is likely the case because Biden Democrats went to the Saudis and said, would you please just wait 1 month before halting production? And why 1 month? Because that would keep prices at a current stable rate for 1 month. They didn't say don't stop production. They said wait a month until after the midterms. Now, here's a prediction. Once the Republicans win in just about 20 or so days, I believe it's 20 days. Once they win, all of a sudden, then you're going to see them say, you know what? Now we're in a recession, and they're going to blame obstructionist Republicans. Even though the Republicans right now don't have any majority power, so can't really get much done. I guess what they do have is the filibuster, but Democrats are still ramming things through like the Inflation Reduction Act, which, by the way, Joe Biden dumping the petroleum reserves shows that it didn't work. So here we go, baby. All of their plans and all of their nonsense, I think, will only backfire in their faces. The smartest things for Democrats to probably do is start actually addressing issues Americans care about, talking about gas prices and the economy, and getting ready for 2024, because it looks like they've already lost this one. I want to slow down. Looks like. Doesn't mean it did. One thing you got to watch out for is you never trust these corporate journalists. And with all the polls all of a sudden swinging towards Republican, they may be trying to lure you into a false sense of security, Republicans. They may be trying to convince you that, you know what, you've won. You don't need to vote. Everyone's no. You better go out and vote. And a message to all Democrats and Republicans. I don't care who you're voting for. If you want to win, you go vote. You get your friends to go vote. You register your friends to vote. And you go out. Ignore the polls. Now, we can talk about what's going on for sure, but you better act like none of this matters. And the only thing that really matters is that you go vote. Let's read this story and then subsequently watch this hilarious political ad. Before we get started, head over to timcast.com and become a member to support our fierce and independent journalism. We do original reporting, field reporting, as well as aggregation. With your support, we can fact check these news stories. And as a member, by clicking the Join Us button, you'll also get access to the uncensored Timcast members-only shows, Cast Castle Vlog. You're going to want to watch tonight's episode because we really went nuts on this one, as well as Tales from the Inverted World. With your support as members, not only will we do more journalism, we've got a new song coming out November 4th, so get ready for this one. We are working very, very hard behind the scenes to build culture and expand. We've obviously recruited new talent for new shows like Pop Culture Crisis, and it's all thanks to you. So smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, share the show with your friends, and now let's have a good laugh at the expense of desperate Democrats. The Hill reports, Swalwell ad portrays women getting arrested in front of family for having an abortion. Okay, I know it's a shockingly drastic and negative portrayal, but you got to trust me, it's just so poorly made. I can't help but laugh at the terrible production quality. It really does feel like SNL. They say the ad shows a family having dinner when police officers come to their door and tell the woman that she is under arrest for unlawful termination of a pregnancy. The woman says it is her personal business, but an officer responds the courts will decide that before arresting her. Democrats have campaigned heavily on the issue of abortion, blah, blah, blah. They say, here's the context I'm trying to give you. No state law currently would send a woman to prison for having an abortion, but some would have doctors who perform abortions face criminal charges for doing so. In other states, they could face heavy fines or lose their medical licenses. All right. Here's the video. Oh, heavens me. Let's play this. And he used hashtag lock her up. It's a minute and a half. Here we go.
You're weird.
He is weird, but cute.
Gross.
Mary Anderson,
Yes.
I have a warrant for your arrest.
Arrest for what?
Penal Code 243 violation. Unlawful termination of a pregnancy.
You gotta be kidding me.
That is my personal business.
That's for the courts to decide, ma'am. Your medical records have been subpoenaed, and Dr. Landry's already in custody.
No, my God, you can't just.
You will have to submit to a physical examination.
That's my favorite part.
What? By who?
No one's touching me.
Just pointing guns at him.
Put your hands behind your back, now.
Why is this happening? Love you, honey bear.
I like that music.
We're just enforcing the law here.
Just enforcing the law here.
Elections have consequences. Vote Democrat on November 8th. Stop Republicans from criminalizing abortion everywhere. Protect women's rights and freedom.
Okay.
Please don't do this.
I'm sorry. It's just like, oh man, it's got 21,000 retweets. Eric Swalwell, bravo, man, trying to make up for farting on TV back when he did, huh? Okay, let me just tell you the issue here. First and foremost, no law is going to have a woman get arrested for this, as they mentioned at The Hill. Chuck Grassley has outright said no to this. Republican Chuck Grassley vows to vote against a national abortion ban. The longest tenured U.S. senator joins a growing chorus of conservative lawmakers opposed to such a restriction. Sorry, if you believe these lies, I got a bridge to sell you. Republicans campaigned overtly on let the states decide. Lindsey Graham came out and then called for a 15-week national abortion ban. And seemingly every conservative and every Republican was like, what is wrong with you? Because people don't like him. And many said that he was actually just working with Democrats. There was a meme shared by Democrats and Republicans, and it was Democrats at a voter registration table while Lindsey Graham was holding a sign saying abortion ban. And the Democrats say, please hold the sign a little higher. Republicans and Democrats were criticizing Lindsey Graham for working with Democrats to create an issue they could campaign on. Sorry, it's not a real issue. But I really just need to point out the issue here is there's one point where the cop goes, you're going to have to submit to a physical examination. The cops are not going to say that. It's just so hammed up and over the top. I almost thought when I saw this, it was parody because the quality and production level of it is that of like the Babylon Bee or SNL. No offense to them. My point is, when you're doing satire and parody, you don't actually make a cinematic masterpiece. You make fun of it. This could have been posted by the Babylon Bee, and I would have laughed all the same. I can't believe these are serious politicians. And lo, my friends, here comes Joe Biden saying codifying Roe will be a priority if Democrats expand majorities. The commitment comes as the White House and Democrats have been focused on protecting abortion access before the midterm elections. But it's not clear if the issue is resonating with voters. Not clear. They don't care. It's across the board. We're looking at this. Money, inflation, crime, economy. I think even war outranks abortion. World War III is staring us in the face. Pretty sure that's more pressing for the average person. But boy, if they don't got anything else to campaign on, there it is. It's all they have. Now look, Republicans campaigned on states deciding, and they're sticking to that. Do I trust them? No, not really. But I really don't think in this cycle, what's at stake is what Eric Swalwell is trying to portray. And it's patently absurd because you will see conservatives who are already in revolt over that. Can I just stress this? Look, in the future, you may see Catholic conservatives or Christian, I shouldn't say Catholic, because Christian conservatives, more pro-life, more religious folks say we should criminally charge those involved in abortion, including the women. I think it's possible. But right now, you even have Republicans pushing back on a national abortion ban. You are a long way from something like this happening. Why? Republicans need independent voters, meaning they cannot just adhere to the staunchest of traditional policies and voters. So no, I think it's completely insane to push this stuff. The ad, though, made me laugh. Good job, Eric Swalwell. Again, he farted on TV, but I digress. The New York Post has the story from just the last evening. Money and inflation are the top voter issues heading into the 2022 midterm elections, according to a poll. Who would have seen this coming? All they have is January 6th and abortion. And unfortunately for them, Americans just do not care. There was, I think I actually have the story pulled up somewhere, that Gen Z really doesn't care at all about January 6th. Here's the New York Post story. Oh, this one's amazing. Americans hobbled by the twin effects of the highest inflation rates in 40 years and an economy that is veering into a recession underscore them as the top issues confronting the country less than a month before midterm elections, a new poll finds. 44% of likely voters say the economy and inflation are their top two concerns, including 58% of Republicans, 34% of Democrats, and 40% of independents. That's a 9-point jump overall from the same poll in July, when 35% picked those issues. Now, the funny thing is you can see that among Democrats, only 34%. Okay. But among independents, it's 40%. I just want to say to all of our good friends who are desperate to get votes, you're pandering to the people who will already be voting for you. So congratulations. That's great marketing. The increased importance of economic issues is weeks away from the elections, when control of Congress is at stake, favors Republican candidates and re-emphasizes the significance of Clinton advisor James Carville's 1992 campaign mantra, "It's the economy, stupid." But congratulations on making these silly commercials and continually pandering for this. Here it is, Biden administration to tap oil reserve ahead of midterms, because everyone is recognizing what Joe Biden is doing. Politico, of all outlets, surprisingly, calling out the Biden administration with their framing. They could said Biden admin taps oil reserve amid gas prices. No, they say ahead of midterms, because we know that Joe Biden is doing this in a desperate bid to try and keep prices low or stable because they're going to lose. This is dirty politics. It's like your roommate stealing your rainy day fund to pay the rent. So you think all is well. He says, don't worry, rent is good and paid for. And then you realize he looted your piggy bank to do it. Bravo, Democrats. And bravo to all the voters who put them in power. Politico reports the Biden admin plans to announce a release of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve in a bid to drive fuel prices down. Two sources familiar with the plan said the White House will release 10 million to 15 million barrels from the reserve as part of an existing plan announced in March to release 180 million barrels of crude into the market throughout the year. According to two industry people granted anonymity to discuss confidential discussions with the administration. There are about 15 million barrels remaining in the original release authorized by the White House. Well, bravo. President Biden will speak about gas prices on Wednesday. White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain said in a tweet, the move comes as the administration has been meeting with oil company executives to negotiate ways to lower fuel prices ahead of the midterm elections, in which inflation, partly driven by high energy prices, will be a key issue. The administration is also considering another release that would be separate from the previously authorized one, though a decision hasn't been made on whether to do so. The two people said, it's on the table, but they haven't made a go or no-go decision. The administration also intends to announce plans to refill the reserve, two people familiar with the talk said. Details such as how much the administration would pay for the oil and when it would buy were still being worked out in one-on-one meetings with industry reps. Oil prices shot higher last week after the oil-producing cartel OPEC and its allied countries announced they would cut their collective production by 2 million barrels per day. So let me tell you what's going to happen, my friends. Joe Biden just needs to buy time until the midterms are over to stave off maximum political damage. Afterwards, I imagine the Democrats are going to pay at a premium to refill the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. That means Joe Biden is selling off our emergency savings of oil at a discounted rate and then will be forced to buy it back up at a premium, costing you money, driving up inflation, driving up gas prices. It is an insane and pathetic bid to stave off political damage. But hey, to all of you who voted for these people, you reap what you sow. It's only unfortunate for us that we too have to reap the same things. Here we go. Saturday Night Live mocks Pelosi, spoofs newly released January 6 tapes. Oh. Yeah, Nancy Pelosi said, "This is the moment I've been waiting for trespassing on the Capitol." Really? You know, I got to drive that point home. I'll bring it up as often as possible. She was waiting for that to happen. If she was waiting for it to happen, that implies she wanted it to happen. And then what? She didn't bring enough security? It's pathetic. But again, they're being made fun of by SNL. Here's another one. SNL scorns Donald Trump's subpoena vote at this week's January 6th committee hearing in tired cold open. And then we have SNL skewers January 6 hearings. Trump subpoena in cold open. Is Mike Pence dead yet? There it is, all laid out for you, my friends. They are being mocked mercilessly because people just don't care anymore. It doesn't mean anything to anyone. You know what matters most? I don't know. Can you afford milk, bread, and eggs? Can you drive to work? No? Well, if that's the case, I'm sure you're not thinking about the January 6 hearings. Newsweek says, could Gen Z voters' views on issues cost Republicans in the midterms? The answer is no, they can't. But let's see what they have to say. In a last-ditch effort, Republicans are hoping to swing the midterms back into their favor. No, hold on. You're wasting my time. They literally are. We're seeing it across the board. Latest polls are coming out showing a major swing towards the GOP, especially among independent women. So Republicans, they're hoping to swing the midterms back. They are swinging the midterms back. But we'll see, man. Don't count all your chickens before they hatch. They say a new Siena College New York Times poll released Monday found that the share of voters who said economic concerns were the most important facing the country has leaped. However, polling conducted by civic influencers, a nonprofit focused on youth voter registration, found that the economy ranked as the fifth most important issue for youth voters, with 31% saying it was the top five and only 10% ranking it as their number one concern. Young people's values are quite different. What Gen Z is focused on is not what boomers have been focused on. There is a new zeitgeist for this generation, which is basically saying we don't accept the values of boomers. Well, maybe because they've never had the standard of living the boomers have had, so losing it doesn't mean that much. The nonpartisan organization found the top issue for young voters is the treatment of racial and or ethnic minorities, with 60% marking it as one of their top 5 issues, followed by healthcare, followed by the environment, and then abortion. So maybe that's why abortion is a big issue for the Democrats. But I'd have to say probably not. Here's the funny thing. If Gen Z was going to have an impact, I mean, they'll have an impact, but if they were going to swing this away from Republicans, Democrats would be focused on woke issues. The only problem is that doesn't poll well for the older generation, so y'all are screwed. I guess the only thing they could find that links people together is going to be abortion. But that is just not a big enough issue for the average American. You know what it is? Crime. From the Daily Mail. Crime-ridden Minneapolis is set to send social workers out on 911 mental health crisis calls. Democrat-led city stripped $1.1 million from police budget and murders doubled. Oh, man, don't you just want to, get a punching bag and a stress ball at the same time and scream, "I told you so," as you furiously just punch that punching bag to get that stress out? My recommendation, take a pillow, scream into it, or get a drum kit. Channel that energy into playing some drums. How about that? Here we go. The entire Minneapolis City Council will vote on the proposal Thursday, which is approved by one of the city's committees Monday night. The program will embed 25 social workers in the city's police department, with 5 precincts, each receiving 5 social workers. Amazing. At a time when crime is a top issue for voters, at a time when John Fetterman in Pennsylvania is saying defunding the police is stupid, and even the Young Turks have walked back their defund the police calls, you are now seeing the remnants, the ripple effect that cannot be undone. Sorry, this is what you will sow, because you reap, you sow. You see, reaping meets sowing. Here you go. Look, it's a delayed reaction. Politics moves slowly. When the rioters came out a couple years ago, smashed and burned things and murdered people, and they did, all across the country, in small towns to big cities, you saw a reaction. And then they said, we're going to vote on these policies. Well, politics take some time to churn through. And now, as people are starting to recognize that these policies have failed and crime is through the roof, you are going to get more of the same. Or you can vote against these people, vote them out, maybe make a real difference and try and help this country. But so be it. Minneapolis, you'll reap what you've sown. And I feel bad for the good people there who know this is bad, but it's time to leave. Because you see what's going on in L.A. and New York with this crime, and it's getting bad. Getting very bad. All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen, from 538. Democrats are slightly favored to win the Senate. I don't believe it. But we'll see. They actually predict there's a chance Republicans could take 56 seats. I find that pretty crazy, to be honest. Here's how it works. They did 100 computer-generated outcomes. In 63, the Democrats won. In 37, the Republicans won. I don't know if I trust their forecast models. They say PA is likely going to go to Fetterman. 69 out of 100, it goes to Fetterman, with 31 out of 100 going to Mehmet Oz. All right, well, Dr. Oz is pretty bad, so I'm not surprised. They decided to bring in a candidate who couldn't even beat Fetterman, who just had a stroke. So, there it is. In Arizona, you've got questions about whether or not Mark Kelly will lose to Masters, and the polling very much favors Mark Kelly, so we'll see. I'm hearing that a lot of Californians are moving to Arizona. That may be the case. So again, we will see. We don't know for sure. Who knows where this goes? I think it's funny that West Virginia it doesn't have any races, but I think it's funny it's got a Democrat of all people. In Georgia, they're predicting that Raphael Warnock actually wins in 58 out of 100, defeating Herschel Walker. We will see. The current Senate's 50-50. There are 21 Republican seats and 14 Democratic seats up for re-election. This is the major disadvantage. Not the polling, not Democrat voters. The disadvantage is Republicans are defending more territory, so we don't know exactly how this will play out. But let me just point out, they say there's a 14% chance, 51 Republican seats, a 10% chance, 52. They actually say there's a 0.5% chance of 56 seats and a 0.2% chance of 57. Maybe. They say 80% of all outcomes fall in this range, 53 Republican to 53 Democrat. The reason they say that Democrats may win the Senate is because of the tiebreaker. 16.4% chance that it stays 50-50. We will see as it pertains to the Senate. Now over in the House, it's looking apocalyptically bad for Democrats. 73 in 100 scenarios shows Republicans winning, mostly down in the 220 range. But they actually say there's a possibility of 268 Republican seats. Yeah, we'll see about that. I don't know about all that. And there's a lot going on here. Here's what I think. I think Nate Silver has been horribly embarrassed. I think the pollsters have been horribly embarrassed because their polls typically favor Democrats by up to 7 points. What does that mean? It means their forecasts are likely wrong, but we will see. 80% of all outcomes fall into this range, and it's looking like 244 Republicans to 225 Democrat. Strong possibility that we see Republicans take a very large majority. Will it matter? I don't know. I really don't know. What I can tell you is that the left and Democrats, to a certain degree, are actually turning on, I should say this, media establishment is a better way to put it. I'm trying to be careful here. But you have this from Salon. Joe Biden's broken promise to avoid war with Russia could lead to Armageddon. From Salon. Wow. Medea Benjamin and Nicholas J.S. Davies calling out Joe Biden's broken promises. That's actually surprising. And we've got a lot of crazy news coming up as it pertains to war. Extraordinary first images emerge of mangled Nord Stream. 165 feet of blown up Baltic Sea gas pipe is either missing or buried under the seabed. Wow. I was thinking there might just be a small breach, and they'd argue, oh, it must have been an accident. 165 feet of the pipe gone? Wow. That's war, baby. That's war. And now we can see just how well Democrats are doing. AOC calls anti-war protesters right-wing Trumpers cult members. It's a thing they do to go viral and draw people in. Oh, AOC goes full war pig. Oink, oink, AOC. AOC accuses her anti-war protesters of parroting pro-Putin talking points. She has nothing to say about Biden's rejection of diplomacy, nor explain that the squad approved billions of dollars in weapons, which will help end the war. She instead invokes Ukraine's self-determination. And what does she say? It is not anti-war to support Russia's imperialist project to invade and seize neighboring countries. War pig! Yeah, that's AOC. So are we supposed to vote for you? It's amazing. She's a shill. She's the establishment. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. The economy is in shambles. And what do the Democrats have to offer you? Well, while you're struggling to pay for gas, get to work, and, I don't know, secure a job, rest assured that under Democrat leadership, the economy has gotten worse. Gas prices are skyrocketing. World War III is looming, but don't worry. They've already lost you the ability to get abortion in certain red states you don't live in anyway, but they're going to fight to codify that. That's Joe Biden's plan. Codifying Roe will be a priority if Democrats expand the majority. So rest assured, if you win and vote for these people, considering the track record, the economy will stay bad, probably get worse, but you'll be able to abort your babies. Okay, maybe for many of you, you're like, fine, good, I'll take it. Okay. But I'll tell you, that ain't going to win with the independents because they're not in agreement with you. Independent voters do not want limitless abortion. They want cheap gas. Republicans may want to ban abortion. That doesn't mean they will. They may want to, but they need independent voters. So at least they're willing to say, okay, we lose this one for now. But I'm telling you, man, if the Democrats think they're going to win this one based on the abortions stuff and January 6th, fine. Push it as much as you want. You will lose. And that's why the polls are all flipping. But let me tell you, my friends, as the polls flip and they begin to favor across the board the Republicans. Let's do this. Let's what do we have here? Do they have the generic ballot? I don't know. As the polls begin to favor Republicans, keep in mind the polls have been wrong. They've been dramatically wrong. Like I mentioned, by about 7 points. So right now we're seeing this shift happen. That means that it's actually substantially worse than they're even letting on. The latest forecast for the midterms. We can see it here. I don't know how you'd calculate a 7% swing into the existing forecast models. I can tell you how you can factor it into the generic polling. Real Clear Politics showed Republicans are up 1.8 points, and 538 shows Democrats are up 0.8 points. Add 7 towards the Republicans, and you've got an 8.8% lead for Republicans nationwide. Nationwide, not even in swing districts. So it's coming, baby. And the Democrats, you know what? You can reap what you have sown. Who will control Congress? There is a 37 percent chance that Republicans will win both chambers. Here's my favorite. There is less than a 1% chance that Republicans win the Senate, but Democrats win the House. They say there's a 37% chance that Democrats win the Senate and Republicans win the House. But that means Democrats tie 50-50. Kamala Harris gives them the tiebreaker vote. They actually say there's a 26 in 100 chance that Democrats win both chambers. Now, that just seems insane to me. So I don't know. I can tell you one thing. Now is the time to charge forward. Knock on your neighbors' doors. Early voting is already underway, and early voting has already surpassed that of 2018. It is looking like it's going to be massive. So who's being motivated right now? I think some Democrats are probably motivated, but I think mostly it's going to be Republicans and independents. That's why historically you see the party in power lose Congress. Now, here's what we can see for governorship. Here's what I find interesting. They're predicting that Pennsylvania is going to go Democrat, likely Democrat. Arizona, it's looking like it's leaning Democrat, potentially a toss-up. So that's going to be interesting. I don't know. The governor's forecast. It's hard to say exactly how it'll play out, but there's a lot of races coming up. And the Democrats I'm hearing are poised to lose. When you see these toss-ups, consider the failure in the polls, but you got to go out and vote. If the governorships, if the state senates, if Republicans win in more and more states at the state level, possibly the most important part, you might actually see a convention of states. Some have argued it's a bad idea, but they can propose constitutional amendments. If Republicans can control enough of these states, you might actually see, term limits, free speech guarantees, the emboldening of constitutional carry. You could see a lot of really, really important things. No guarantees, though, my friends. Governorships aren't necessarily that. They say each party's chances of winning the 36 governorships up for re-election. So we'll see. A lot of these states are. It's going to be up to you to go out and vote, to get your friends to vote, to make sure your friends are doing the right thing. So good luck. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 8 p.m. over at youtube.com/TimcastIRL. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all then.